What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Six Gaming Podcast. Thank you for joining. This is episode number 86. 86. Oof. Maybe we should have skipped this number.
Why was wrong 86?
Because we don't want to 86 the podcast, right?
Well, I made sure that we didn't.
Yeah, right?
This is your illustrious podcast.
Ding! You have now reached the level of harmless.
Yes.
Thanks solely for coming up with that, by the way. Every time we use the word illustrious, we should just
Ding.
level up and say some random level from the Achaea list. But anyway, speaking of illustrious, we have our good friend Dan. How's it going?
Hey, I'm illustrious.
Yes. There is actually an illustrious level of illustrious.
There was an illustrious level of illustrious.
It's so good.
You have a high level of luster.
Yes. Show is out this week. He is formatting his PC.
He's formatting his PC.
That's what he said. He had to reinstall Windows and everything. So hopefully we'll. I don't know if he's going to be here next week.
Saturday night to do it.
Yeah, he did. Good job, Show. Good
job, Show. Way to go, Show.
Of course, next week he's going to be having surgery on Friday.
Yes. So that would be a pretty valid excuse.
Yeah. Yes. So anyway, but we do have a bit of stuff to talk about.
And there's Ron. Ron's here.
Yeah.
As always.
Oh, as always. That's right. I'm Ron. But you knew that already. So we're gonna start out with Show's favorite part of the show. He's gonna be broken to tears for missing this. It's the first half of the show, and this is the section he calls. Can you do it better than I do?
News.
That's actually pretty good. I like that.
I'm thinking of getting myself a good mic, so maybe it'll sound better.
Yes. Good news, everyone. Okay, so first up, and I actually saw this yesterday for the first time. Apparently, Amazon, who of course 2 years ago bought out Twitch.com, which is the biggest streaming service on the planet for games, if they've now finally incorporated Twitch with Amazon in that if you have Amazon Prime, you now have Twitch Prime. And what this allows you to do is if you have Twitch Prime, you're going to get a ton of free stuff. And by free stuff, I mean that you're going to get a hero in HOTS. They have a free game for you guys to get with some Prime specific stuff for it. And there's also a Smite skin for Yimmer as well.
They're talking about having Hearthstone card backs, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. And this is in addition to the stuff that you already get with Amazon Prime, from the shipping to the discounts on some physical box games, stuff like that. This is stuff you already have.
You also get a free subscription per month.
Yeah, and that is really cool because those subscriptions go straight to supporting the person you subscribe to.
And I assume that it's not like Audible, right, where you get one book a month, but you get to keep the books that you get. I think it's right. You get one sub a month, and then that subscription. Yes. It's a 1 month subscription. So you can keep subscribing to the same one every month, but it's not like month one you get one subscription, month two you continue the first one, you get a second one. Exactly. So it's only 1 month, but it's still whatever that is, $6, $10 or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really good. So definitely check that out if you have Amazon Prime. I believe Vedge's wife has it. So he's going to look into getting his subscription for that. That's some pretty cool stuff. So definitely check it out. I believe
you cannot do it if you have a family shared subscription. So that's the only caveat. If you have one of those subscriptions where it's you can share your Prime with someone else or whatever, then that's not going to work. Only the main account holder gets that.
Yeah, only one account holder gets it. You have to pair it up with the Twitch account for it to work.
So that's twitch.amazon.com/prime or twitchprime.com.
Yeah, or if you just go to twitch.com, they're advertising this all over the place right now. So I noticed that I don't know if I can bring this up real quick, but for example, if I go to my homepage on Twitch here, and let me see if I can't screen share this real quick. Yeah. Oh, they're not doing it. Okay. Oh, that's broken actually. Oh, I see what's wrong. So let me exit theater mode. And you kind of see here, there's this free with Prime stuff. It tells you get Tyrande in Hearthstone as a priest. And then Streamline is the game that you get. And then the Yimmer skin. It's pretty cool. So definitely check that out. Pretty good stuff. It's and I was wondering they were going to start combining, doing this cross promotion, and there's your answer. And it's actually, to me, I think that's pretty good because it doesn't change the cost of Amazon Prime at all. It's still $99 a year or $10.99 a month.
Yep, and I'm getting free shit that before I was not getting, so I'm happy with it.
Absolutely. So that is Twitch Prime. And then we got our favorite game to bash, No Man's Sky.
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about Shower with Your Dad Simulator.
No, that's the official game of.
Oh right, we don't bash that.
We don't bash that game. The game's too good. It's Veg's favorite. I think he's unlocked every achievement.
he got the secret achievement where all the blurring gets turned off.
Oh wait, how do you know about that?
Veg told me.
The Veg told. Okay, fair enough. So yeah, our favorite game to bash these days is No Man's Sky. Just what a mess that launch turned out to be. All kinds of bugs made it really hard to play, and then a lot of the stuff that they said would be in the game was not in the game, and we've seen over the past month and change all these interviews, or not interviews, but videos coming out that take pieces of the interviews that Sean Murray did, claiming that, hey, this was going to be in the game, and then it turns out to not be in the game. Mm-hmm. I remember one quote of his. Someone asked him, "What's your biggest fear?" And he said, "Disappointing people," or something like that. And boy, did he disappoint people. It's to the point where this game that had so much hype is now down to less than 1,000 active players per day.
Wow, I did not see that.
Yes, it is abysmal. I remember when it first came out, it had briefly overtaken Overwatch as like the highest game viewership on Twitch that I follow, and now it doesn't even beat out chess.
Yeah,
I mean that's how. Nothing against chess; it's just not a very popular game to watch on Twitch.
I mean, if you think about it, though, like show was on his third universe or galaxy or whatever.
Yes,
and you got through it. Like, if this would have been a $20 game, and it wouldn't have been quite so hyped up. Mm-hmm. I think that's a great game for $20. You get a couple of weeks of good gameplay, of 50, 60 hours of good gameplay. It's not like amazing, but it's good, solid gameplay for maybe 50, 60 hours, kind of repetitive, whatever. It would have been fine, and then it kind of would have faded away just like any game. But it's Spore number 2. There is a Spore 2.
But to be fair, the people that do still play this game are just in love with the visuals. That is like the main focus for people still playing the game. And it's actually just something that Sean Murray said. It's a chill game that you just relax playing. And you check out all the cool landscapes and seeing all the planets in the sky and stuff like that. It's not terrible. But there's a lot of things that were promised or supposedly promised that never made the game. And as a response to this, apparently the UK-based Advertising Standards Authority has confirmed that they've received a few complaints about it, and they're going to start an investigation to see if there was legally false advertising.
So one of the things that I saw about this is that what Sean Murray says in an interview and what he and his PR team said on Reddit don't count as advertising.
Correct.
So there's a very specific legal definition for what advertising is and then what constitutes false advertising. Mm-hmm. So some people are thinking that it's false advertising because of that, but in reality, it's anything that is an actual ad where they said that something will be there. So there are some caveats where people are like, well, obviously they're going to get found because look, Sean Murray said this and that. And it's like, that doesn't count necessarily.
Yeah. But I mean, they're going off of things such as the videos on Steam, stuff like that. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with this. And like from what I understand, the only thing that the ASA has the authority to do is to, okay, we found that this is false advertising. Remove that ad now.
Yeah.
That's it. That's really all they can do. But it's still big in that a lot of people were thinking that this game was going to be like the next big game to come out. And for a few days it was.
Mhm.
There's so many people playing the game. And then when they realized this is just a repetitive, boring game, I mean, I'm to the point now where I haven't touched it in like a month.
Well, I mean, if you look back, Assassin's Creed was pretty repetitive. I mean, it holds up. Well, the first one does not hold up great, but it still is looked back on fondly as like, it changed a lot of things. The narrative was good. The whole idea of like the parkour kind of thing became part of a lot of other games. So that did people look back on it positively, even though it was pretty repetitive. But this, I don't know. It's going to be a historical game, right? Like Spore was, like Fable was, but it's kind of in a negative light. It's like, well, it turned out to be an okay game, but all the hype made it shitty.
Yeah, and for me personally, I feel that No Man's Sky is doing nothing more than laying the groundwork for what a true space game like this could be, where you have an infinite number of generated plants, where you have all this different variety, but give the players that, but give them some depth to the game as well. I really feel that No Man's Sky really missed the boat here.
It was a giant 2-inch deep puddle.
Yeah, I mean they should have not released this game until the things that were in the game that they wanted in the game were in it. Now, of course, there's things such as how much money did they have? Did they have to release it because they ran out of money? Things like that. I mean, there's a lot of questions that probably we won't get the answer to.
Yeah,
but No Man's Sky has that kind of genre. I feel has potential because so many people were really waiting for this game to come out, and it came out and it just fell flat. Unfortunately for them. So, and that's really it for all the major news this week, unless you had anything else.
Nope.
I did not see a whole lot else happen. And I'm just going to very briefly go over the, we've had 2.5 days of the League of Legends Worlds. By the way, what you drinking?
Nothing right now. I had a whole bottle of sake at dinner, so.
Oh, so you're not going to have
that is more than enough.
I imagine. So just to talk about some of the happenings going on, it's kind of interesting how Worlds is playing out so far. Rocks Tigers is currently leading Group A. Royal Never Give Up is currently leading Group D. They beat TSM on day one, which was interesting. And SKT and IMEI, I believe, play today to see who's going to be leading Group B. And then in Group C, everyone's 1-1. So some interesting things going on. Into Z Esports, which was one of the international wildcard teams, which typically go 0-6 at Worlds, they've already got a win. They beat Edward Gaming, which that's no small feat. Edward Gaming's a pretty good team. And then also Albus Nox Luna, the other wildcard team, they beat North America's CLG. That is unreal. So wildcards making a lot of noise this year. It would be interesting to see one of those two teams make the knockout stage. Of course, the Worlds today is day 3. We're currently in the middle of today's games, and then tomorrow wraps up, I believe, the first set of games where everyone's played everyone once, and then next week what happens on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Each day is dedicated to one group, and everybody plays 3 games on that day. And at the end of the day, you'll know who's advancing to the next part of the playoffs. And if there's tiebreakers, they'll play an extra tiebreaker game on the day. It's like you get a bonus game for free. So that'll be happening next week. I believe the 8th is when Group D happens, which is TSM. That was the one that was like sold out like weeks in advance. So
yeah.
But yeah, definitely check that out. LOLesports.com is the place to go for that. And like I said, they're currently going on. There's currently one game going on now, and that's IMEI versus SKT. So go ahead, check that out. And with that, I believe we're done with news. So we're going to move on to Show's favorite part of the show. I think he's a little upset that we're renaming this.
I fixed the name because I realized that I did it wrong.
Oh, so
so now we're this is called Videojuegos que está jugando, which means what games are you playing?
What?
in Spanish.
Why?
I don't know.
I kind of like the Rec Room. Or
Okay, we can do that. I was just going to start renaming it a different thing every single week.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. Pam, let's start with you. What are you playing?
So I had a couple of Android games that I found this week that I found enjoyable. One is called Ancestor, and it is a infinite runner, 2D with kind of retro graphics, and it's got like 5 or 6 like obstacles that happen as you're running, and you have like a laser thing, so you have to, like, a block will fall from the ceiling, you have to shoot the block till it explodes. There's like a little generator thing, you have to shoot the crystal in it. There's pits where you have to drag a trampoline across it. I don't know, it's pretty fun. The graphics and the music are pretty good. There's also a game called Strata, which, if you've played Kami, it's a similar kind of game. There are boxes of colors, and you make ribbons crisscross across the colors, and each box has to have 2 layers. It has to have a ribbon from each side coming.
Okay.
But the top ribbon has to be the color of the box below it. So you basically weave the ribbons in and out as you place them, and have to do it in a specific order so that all the colors are taken care of with the top.
Very interesting.
It's pretty good music. It's pretty smooth graphically, and it's quite fun. I finished Spec Ops. That was a good game. I played the ending about.
I need to play that. I got that for free not too long ago. I should sit down and.
Yeah, it was 9 to 10 hours. It was pretty quick, and it was not very hard. I played it on normal difficulty, and it had like 7 or 8 endings, but all the choices basically were right at the end. So you can reload and play and reload and play. And reload.
Nice.
Hold on 1 second. You can start on yours. I'll be back.
All right. Yeah, I'll do mine real quick. Of course, World of Warcraft. Been playing a lot of raiding there. Our guild's got 6 of 7 down, and as of an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, Soli's raid group Resistance, they got 6 of 7 down. So just working on Xavius at this point. I've been playing some Crypt of the Necrodancer. Not a whole lot. This is just not a whole lot going on, but I do have I'll get to this when Dan comes back. Sub-level 0, been doing practice for that as well, considering that I'll find out next week if that gets accepted for GDQ or not. Knock on wood for that.
Go, Ron.
And I was going to say something about Crypt of the Necrodancer. So 2 weeks from today, over on Eli Difficult's channel, there's going to be something called, oh God, I don't see the name of it. But there's basically going to be a charity marathon for Child's Play.
Sweet.
And I'm going to be racing 2 races in it. And
Nice.
It starts at 9 a.m. Eastern, and I'm like the second one on, or 9 a.m. Pacific, and I'm the second one on. And it's just like, I'm going to be so dead. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm racing Melody and Bard. And the thing about this particular set of races, they have this thing called the Wheel of Pain. So it's a best 2 out of 3. And they spin the wheel before every game in your series. And it might land on something like no trapdoors. Okay, you don't take any trapdoors in your run. Or it'll run on no spells. Okay, so you can't pick up these spell scrolls or the spell items. Or it will say base weapon only. Hey, guess what? You're running you're running a dagger the whole time.
Nice.
So it's kind of a really neat change up to how you play, how you race Necrodancer. And I've been practicing with it. I'm awful. I'm gonna get wrecked.
Yeah.
It's gonna be bad. There's been some games where I've gone in and played, and I've not even I'll pick up something up thinking, oh, I can pick this up, and it was like no bombs. Oh, I just picked up a 3-pack of bombs.
Well, if you pick it up, are you disqualified, or if you use it?
I don't know. If it's like Condor, then you have to use it to be disqualified.
Yeah.
You can pick it up. That's fine. But like, for example, if you were on low percent and you pick something up, that breaks low percent. And there's going to be a block dedicated to low percent where like all the restrictions are in effect. You cannot pick up a single item the entire time. So there's stuff like that. And then the last thing I wanted to shout out to was Knucklecracker, which I've talked about the Creeper World series.
Sorry, you're freezing. I don't know if it's me or you.
That's probably you. It's looking fine here. But Knucklecracker, which they have the Creeper World series 1, 2, and 3. They released a story called Particle Fleet, a game called Particle Fleet, and it's got a whole new story based on the same universe. And it's a really interesting RTS. And I was thinking about this in like relation to Get Wrecked or Rec Room or whatever we want to call it. And I would say play this game if, one, you're a fan of the Knucklecracker series, because it's got some pretty rich story in it for the universe. And two, if you like easy to pick up RTS games. This is not a hard RTS game at all. Don't pick this up if you like depth in your RTS, because this game I don't feel has it. I finished the main storyline in 9 hours. It's a $20 game. There are custom maps to play and some additional challenge missions as well. I haven't gotten to those yet, but I mean, once the story is over, it's the kind of RTS. You know how when you're playing an RTS and you get to the point in the game where, okay, you've got enough stuff where you have made the game a stalemate.
Mm-hmm.
And anything you do past that's going to push you over to the win. I feel in Particle Fleet that point comes far too early in the game. Like, you know, if you're going to win or lose that game within 5 minutes. And sometimes you win it within 5 minutes. It'll go that fast. So I don't know.
Cool. Zerg Rush.
Not Zerg. No, nothing like Zerg Rush. It's there's no resource management in this game like there was in the Creeper World series. There is the concept of energy, and how much energy you have determines how fast you make things. But that point where you make things it comes quick. It comes way too quick. And I feel that equilibrium point is just too early in the game, because there's a point where you get to a certain point and that's it. You know you're winning. It's just a matter of time. So, but I still would recommend playing the game if you like easy to play RTSs, and if you're into the story of Creeper World. It's a very fascinating story, especially after the third one. This kind of plays off a lot of the story from the third Creeper World game. So definitely check that out. Knucklecracker.com. It's on Steam. Check it out. Now let's get back to yours. You were
I had a couple more ones. So I was playing BattleBlock Theater the other day, and I noticed on the little scrolling thing at the bottom, it said, "We have a new game. Sign up for the beta." Ooh. I was like, I wonder how old that is, because I didn't realize that they updated that scrolly text on BattleBlock. Mm-hmm. So I got into the beta for the Pit People game, which is a new game coming from the Behemoth, and it is quite funny. They've got there's a narrator very much like the BattleBlock Theater narrator. And the story starts out with a giant space bear slamming into Earth and his toxic blood raining down on the city. It's hilarious. Yeah. The game works. It's a hex grid, and you have the various tactical units. Like, you've got, swordsman that is strong against unarmored people. You have a person with like a mace that's strong against people with armor.
Hey, there's a spider.
Oh, a spider? Where's a spider?
You got to make Veg play this game.
Oh, there's a spider in it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's definitely some spiders.
It's called a Spider.
A spider.
It's like a Minotaur, except it's a spider.
Oh, I've seen a spider lady. I didn't know if that was what it was. There's some online component. You can trade stuff with people. You can fight people in the arena. There's side quests, main quests, and I mean, it's all beta now, so I bet that can all change. But yeah, it's pretty fun. It's definitely somewhat challenging in some of the fights. I assume, like, I'm leveling up some. I assume that you can capture, if you leave one enemy left in a fight and then you use a net on them, which is something that certain characters can do, then you bring them into your party. and then you can select them as like extra characters in your party later on. So it's like a tactical RPG. Anyway, it's pretty fun.
Sounds Pokemon-ish.
No, it's not. It's not
No?
Pokemon-ish. It's not.
All right.
Like you get them and their weapons, and then you can equip their weapons to a different character or whatever.
Cool.
I played a little bit of Paladins this week.
That's by Hi-Rez.
Yeah,
the same guys that do Smite.
Right. It's kind of like a free Overwatch. I've got a couple of the heroes, played some, did pretty well. It's fun. Nothing amazing. It does have like a whole like you get cards, and then the cards become your loadout for that character. So like, you can get a card that says you reload your gun 10% faster or something like that. So you choose 5 cards. So anytime you play, you can actually make it a little bit different for yourself.
And I imagine those cards, you get some rare cards too.
Yeah, I haven't really messed with it. You can buy chests that contain cards, or you can earn them through level up, or you can buy them with in-game currency.
Neat.
There's different stuff. I've only played like a couple hours of it, and I didn't mess with the cards very much. I just played.
Yeah, there's actually one guy on Twitch. He goes by the name of Bitey, Bitey, and apparently he's really good at this game. And he plays this game all the time. He used to be a Descent guy, and he kind of left Descent to go play this. So yeah, definitely something to check out. I haven't played it myself yet, but it seems pretty interesting. There is one game I did want to add. I have not played this myself yet, but this looks like a really cool game. This game is called Atlas Reactor, and this is also it's like a turn-based MOBA. If you took League of Legends and made it a MOBA, or made it turn-based, that's what it's like.
Sounds cool.
So it's just a big battle arena. It's like the first to 5 wins or 5 kills, or the most kills after 20 turns. And I saw someone playing this, and it's got really nice graphics. The characters have character, and they're pretty funny too. Some of them. It's definitely worth checking out. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if you have to pay for it or what, but I do know it's kind of got that model going on where you don't get everything right away. You have to unlock it as you go.
Yeah.
I really know very little about the game outside of what I saw in the gameplay. It's just come out of beta. And I think it's in early access before they're going to release the full game, and that's going to happen very soon. So, yeah.
And then one other thing that I was playing was The Dig. LucasArts 1990 something. But it was on GOG sale for like $2. And I read the novelization a very long time ago. I was like, oh, I always wanted to play that. So I played like an hour of it this afternoon. And the graphics the adventure game part of it have held up pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
The cutscene stuff does not look so great on HD's display. I haven't messed to see if there's any kind of graphics controls or fixes for it, but the gameplay is fun, and there's definitely some funny parts to it. Like there's one point where like one of the characters is running for Senate or something, and you're like, well, you know that you have my vote. And then she says, oh, I should alert the press. And if you try to talk to her again, you say the same line. Oh, well, you have my vote. And then she says, oh, you're one whole big vote. Thank you very much. Like you can click on it like 15 times, and she'll say something different each time, even to the same line that you said.
Nice.
So there's some comedy in it. It's fun.
Cool.
I vaguely remember the plot of the book, so I don't know if that's gonna kind of spoil the gameplay for me, but we'll see.
All right. One thing I did want to say about that game, because I found this interesting. On Steam, 94% of the 372 user reviews for the game are positive.
Mm-hmm.
On GameSpot, 894 people rated the game, average 8.2. GameSpot's official rating for the game, 4.5.
They probably were like, these graphics are horrible.
And this was a review made Wow, by Jeffrey Adam in 1996.
Yeah, maybe that was a review of the time. They didn't get adventure games.
Wow, talk about.
Well,
yeah, that's very interesting. That back then that this was panned, and then like today,
but
people like it.
If you look at like the Abduction reviews, almost everyone says this game has some issues. I mean, it was made by a studio with Kickstarter money. They didn't have the top of the line everything. It's a little bit laggy on a lot of people's systems, the top graphics, but it's a fantastic game that harkens back to the original Mist and Ribbon, and it's a worthy successor to Cyan Studios' old games.
Nice.
Then there was one review, and I don't remember who wrote it, but it was like, this game is a piece of shit, and the puzzles are too hard, and it runs too slowly. And I was like, oh, I know exactly the puzzle that he got stuck on and wanted to burn the game. Because there's a puzzle right near, well, it was the end for me. I think you can do the worlds in any order, so it might not necessarily be the end, but there's a game near where most people consider it the end that is a little rage-inducing.
Yeah. Lovely. That's kind of like for me climbing out of the spider pit in Volinar. I don't really know about that just yet. It's like I give it one try, and if I fail, I hearth. It's very annoying. Anyway, anything else?
That's all I've been playing this week.
All right, so we're going to move on. This is the third half of the show. Show's upset he's missing this. It's his favorite part of the show. I'm actually kind of surprised he didn't kind of stop in. I mean, how long does it take to install Windows?
Depends.
Not that long. So, but anyway.
Are they double pane?
Sure. We'll go with double pane. How about a double palm? Dan. This is the third half of the show. It's show's favorite part of the show. This is the 6 Gaming Roundtable, where we ask you a question about gaming, and you provide us with intelligent answers, or not, depending on how you feel. Today's question, and I kind of this was kind of swelling up over the course of the last week, of course, with you talking about pit people and everyone saying, oh, Behemoth's coming out with another game. Yeah, Behemoth, awesome. And me playing the Particle Fleet game. My question is, what game developers do you get excited over when they're about to release a new game?
I would say that at this point, CD Projekt Red has proven themselves to be worthy of that. Whatever I forget what their new game's gonna be called. So it's just some kind of steampunk. It's like Steampunk 2077 or something like that.
Right.
That I'm pretty hyped up for that because of how good Witcher 3 was. I'd say Nintendo, honestly. Zelda and Mario games. I get pretty excited about. Those are some of the only games that I buy before waiting for them to go on sale, mostly because those games never go on sale. Bethesda, I get pretty excited, and I mean, I check it out. I don't necessarily buy everything day one for them, but they make a game. BioWare makes good games. Not so much EA.
Yeah.
I don't get super excited about EA games. But really just any of the big studios that had released good games in the recent past. And then also I would say that any of the studios, like I don't think Bullfrog exists anymore, but like, if any of the old studios that had in the past released stuff and then hadn't done anything for a long time, and maybe they were just doing support and whatever they were doing. If I heard like Lionhead or Bullfrog or any of these things that had been eaten up by another studio, if like that team were releasing something, I'd definitely have my ears perk up.
Oh. Any others that come to mind?
What about you?
Well, I mean, I'm going to go with the obvious one here and say Blizzard.
Yeah.
I mean, even the hype that they had for Overwatch was pretty big, and it's a fun game to play. Not upset about that purchase. I've done a lot in that game. I probably don't play it nearly as much as I'd like to. But I mean, that, Diablo, Really, I need to play more StarCraft. I'm just terrible at that type of game. And World of Warcraft's been eating my time since 2007, 2006. Oh my God, has it been a year? Has it been 10 years for me? It may have been 10 years for me. That's crazy. Thank you, Blizzard. But also, obviously, Knucklecracker. That it's like when Creeper World 3 came out, I had to get it day one. They come out with this new game, Particle Fleet. I got it day one. Another studio that always does that to me, Avion Studios. Every time they come out with their new Avion RPG, they've had 7 games now.
I don't know if I played any of those.
Yeah, it's called the series is called Avion. There's actually 8 games in the series. There's a prequel that wasn't called Avion. That was the first game they put out, which was apparently okay-ish. But from Avion 1 up to 4, and then there's 4 parts for the 3rd game. And they're all very good, and they're so funny. The humor is great. The last game was kind of ramped up the difficulty too high at the end. But overall, I felt it was a very solid game and really gave me confidence that whenever this studio puts something out, I'm going to want to buy it. And as for other things, I mean, this isn't a studio in general, but if you make a 6 Degree of Freedom game, I'm probably going to buy it.
I will make a 6 Degree of Freedom game.
I'll probably buy it. I probably will. Yeah, I think I've bought every one that's come out since 2010. And of course, Sublevel Zero being a big part of that. Still play the original game from time to time, Descent. I've played a whole bunch of them. There's a few I've missed along the way, like Aquavox, for instance. It's a 6 Degree of Freedom game, but it's underwater. And I don't know why I just haven't bothered with that. But things like that. I don't know if there's really any other studio in general that I really get excited about, though. But those 3, and the fact that I'm a 6 Degree Freedom junkie, those are really my games. Those are the games that I enjoy. Yeah. I may, depending on what Brace Yourself comes out with next, that might be a thing. Crypt of the Necrodancer.
Yeah.
Of course, they have their DLC coming out, which I'm going to be all over, and then they're also making another game. So, well, we'll see what happens with that. So that's pretty much it for me. Unless you have anything else, I think we're going to move on.
Nope.
All right.
Starting late and ending on time.
Yeah, that's not a terrible thing. So, all right. So we're going to wrap this up here. Thank you guys for joining. We're trying to be here every week. And so far, we have been for the last 86 weeks. Around 8
anybody out there listening, watching, you want to be on a podcast? Let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've had a wide variety of people on this podcast over the past year and a half plus, and it's always fun to have new people on. I think we had one of Ross's friends on not too long ago, Bobbles, and he was very good. I wish he had come back. He's one of those guys that just fit in naturally, but maybe we'll see him again. I don't know. So definitely check us out. We're of course over at six.gg. That's spelled out six.gg. Type that in your web browser and you'll get everything about Six Gaming, including our Discord server. You'll get a link to our YouTube page where right now that's where all our podcasts are. Hopefully that changes soon, I hope. And yeah, I mean, we're just a group of people that love playing games and obviously love talking about them. So with that, I'm going to move this over to Dan if you have any closing thoughts for the night.
Nope. I had a joke, but I'm not going to tell it.
Oh, is it one of those jokes?
It's one of those jokes.
Have you heard Veg's jokes?
No, it's just, it's not the, if Dropkick were here, I would say it just so he would get mad at me.
Have you heard Veg's jokes?
Yeah, it's just, it's not.
I don't think it's that bad.
It's not. It's not.
You said it. You got to do it now.
No.
Oh. Rude. All right. And with that, that's gonna just about do it for Six Gaming Podcast. Until next week, guys. Dan, take it away.
We will see you. Goodbye.